If you like superheroes, comic books, or teleporting thieves who are total ass kickers, you'll more than likely enjoy Mr. Shifty. To describe it in my own words, it's sort of like if Batman could teleport through walls. Many people have also made a direct comparison to Hotline Miami, if that helps you understand what it's like. So the game begins as your character, Mr. Shifty, blows into an office building and immediately starts punching bad guys left and right. It doesn't provide any explanation of the story until a few minutes later, but that didn't bother me in the slightest because you're thrown straight into the action. Everything progresses in stages, and I won't lie, you're probably going to die a few times, but it doesn't really matter because you can just respawn and try punching your enemies again. The difficulty comes from the fact that you die if you are punched or shot one single time. That's right, there's no fancy health meter here. If you aren't very fast and you don't have some sort of idea what course of action you're going to take before you enter a room, you're probably gonna fail. On the surface, the game feels like it's just a brawler that wants you to transport short distances then hit your enemies before they have time to fight back. But there's more to it than that. Each area gets more difficult and you need to have a plan of attack before you charge in. For instance, you will see here that there are 3 different rooms with guards in them. The guards react to noise and other disturbances, so you need to be ready to dash through the different rooms in a certain order to avoid getting shot. Also take into account that some enemies have guns and some are melee attackers, and it makes it even more strategic. The game also incorporates laser beams, destructible walls, and other environmental differences as you progress, and it just gets harder and more fast-paced as it goes along. Sometimes you can use those laser beams against your enemies, which to me was more fun than beating them up with my fist, because it gives me that evil I'm smarter than you and now I killed you without trying feeling, which is so satisfying. This is a very high octane game and I love it. The thrill of having to adjust to your surroundings on the fly and know when and where to teleport gave me a rush and I was totally into it. I mean, just watch this bit. I will be honest, nearly all of this game revolves around 2 actions, punch and teleport. That sounds too simple, but it really isn't because you have to transport and punch constantly and in strategic ways. You also can pick up weapons that can be thrown, used to bash your opponents, or to deflect their attacks, which adds another layer to the fun. Overall, the gameplay is really neat, and I enjoyed the game's ability to keep throwing new puzzles and enemies at me in a way that made me think fast and move even faster. Another neat part of Mr. Shifty is the artwork and the aesthetic design. It really does remind me of a comic book turned video game. Shifty gives off a dark feel because his hat and his coat seem to make him mysterious, but you also know that he's the good guy. You know how Marvel characters are, and Shifty fits heavily within that same kind of vibe. Everything feels sort of retro, but it also looks really crisp. The top-down view was something that scared me at first, but I quickly realized that it works just fine and allows you to effectively take in your surroundings. This game isn't graphically shocking or anything, but it looks cool, and for me that's all it takes. One other thing I want to briefly mention is the dialogue. A lot of the conversations are funny, and it got a laugh out of me a couple of times. One example is in a chat you have with Nyx, the lady that talks to you throughout the entire game. She is describing to Shifty where he is, and she says that the building he is in is owned by an evil asshole. Then she goes on to refer to him as Chairman Asshole, as if that's actually his name throughout the conversation. I don't know how little things like this make me fonder of games, but they do. It shows me that the writers made at least some attempt to incorporate humor into their script, so I appreciate that. So the gameplay is definitely the biggest strong point here, but I also enjoy the artwork and other details, even if the story is rather simple. I'm curious how long this game is, as I only made it through the first 3 stages so far. I have to admit that I feel like this is a one-shot type of game. Once you beat it, I doubt you'll be coming back to it because there's really no reason to that I can tell. I guess you could try to make it through each stage in a certain time limit and without any deaths, but I don't really see why you would do that for anything other than bragging rights. But for your first playthrough, you can definitely get hooked because each stage brings something new and presents a bigger and better challenge. All things considered, I like Mr. Shifty. I had a lot of fun and I will continue to play this in my free time, which isn't something I normally say during these reviews. I should note that there has been a lot of complaints about the game's final stages because of frame drop issues that apparently make it nearly unplayable, but the devs have already stated that a patch is going to take care of that problem, so I don't think it's cause for concern. Well, that is Mr. Shifty, guys. If you like it, leave a like. If you like me, subscribe. Don't forget to join the Discord, check out the Patreon, and I'll see you on the next one.